Alright, so today it's more of a little obscure video for the people searching this up, needing help with this, or the people that are just that interested in differentials and rear diffs. But we're rebuilding the diff in my 2002 Ford Explorer. It's a 8.8 Spicer. 3.73 is the variant I have with the ABS sensor inside. Like, we're gonna get as far as like this type of shit in a second here. But first I'm going to talk about how I got it out and the challenges that weren't really covered by other YouTube videos. This is kind of because there's some pretty lacking content there for this. So let's go. So running through the basic stuff you need to do, you need to remove both of your CV axles in the rear to get before you drop the diff. So basically, if this is a challenge, if this part is too much because I'm going to go really fast, this is too advanced for you. This is not a basic process. Tire off, brake caliper up, rotor off. Then you you can do either the bottom two and leave the top mount in, or you can take the top and the fucking tie rod end looking one out, and then you just push the spline through and you're done on this side. Now do the other side the same. Then you'll have two CV axles sitting in the differential plopping through here. Now, these actually, I was a bit weird about how to take them out, but basically, what you gotta do is you gotta get a bar in there and you just gotta hit it harder. I'll show you here. So in this differential, this is what the CVs look like. Basically, they have a spline on the inside. This is the part that goes into the differential. This is the side that goes into your hub. But anyways, they have this little like C-clip guy here, which retains it in the differential, and you can't just pull it out or else you'll pull your whole CV apart doing that. So as this would be in here, like so, basically you gotta I took a 4-pound sledgehammer and a 1/2 inch extension, even though this one's a 3/4 inch, and lined it up right here. Actually, it was like this, so that was on there at an odd angle, and hit that pretty fucking hard, and that popped it out, and then a couple light taps or pulls with your hand to take it the rest of the way. And when you buy new seals for here, because they didn't come in my master kit, I had to buy the seals separately along with the little cage bearing in here separately, different from the large bearing in here that comes with the master kit. It actually comes with new C-clips, which is nice. So the reason I'm rebuilding this differential is because I had a large humming sound coming from it when I was under any acceleration load above 50 kilometers an hour. So, and also it started to leave puddles because the one seal was pretty much gone and they were all starting to seep a bit too much. But anyways, took it all apart. These two bearings were pretty good. They were extremely tight to get off the carrier. I'll pull the carrier out here in a second. It's in the freezer right now. But anyways, I believe the bearing that was giving me the humming noise was this one, right here on the front of the spindle. Because if you leave it on the table, on the bench, and go like this, you can actually feel the rough spots in it. And before I took this apart, which I should have gotten a clip of it, when this was just in the case all alone, free spinning it, it had a squeal and a, well, bad bearing noise sound to it. But even if I put this back in there, which I won't do on camera because it's really kind of difficult, and spin it, you can feel the bumps in this bearing. So that's where I think the noise is coming from. I caught the problem pretty early. My rear differential's in pretty damn good shape. There's just a little shine on the gears like you should be. No big gouges, no shavings, nothing really too much on the magnet in here, just what you'd expect. So pretty much it's in pretty good shape for 150,000 kilometers on this guy. What's that, like 110 miles? Something like that. But anyways, also when you take this apart, you have to spread these are the two spreader points on the differential, which we made this homemade guy over here, which could be better. So those two guys right there fit into the holes I just showed you, and they spread. And that allowed us to basically grab the, I think it's called the king gear, I'm not really up on the lingo here, and pull it out and pull the whole carrier assembly out. And that's after taking these two hold down clips and bolts out, obviously, and maintaining the spacers for the correct sides. I have them oriented over here so I don't lose the orientation, because those will be different. And just all the hardware from that side, all the hardware from that side. See these. Let's take a quick look under here. Another note for when I was taking this out, the bolts that bolt the drive shaft on near the rear universal, they're a 12-point bolt head. They're 12 mil 12-point bolt. So the only 12 point in a 12 mil I had was a wrench. So got a little bit of that cheater action with the second wrench on there, and she came. But they were pretty damn difficult to do. Other than that, I put the jack under the differential here, took out these two bolts along with the one in the front, and she fell right under the jack and she came right out. So that's how that went. Also, another good note as we carry on here, I've recently done both these back bearings, and if you know anything about this, they are single-use nuts that go onto the spindle of the CV. So like they come with like a triple crimp on them to hold them on there. And if you didn't know that, I've actually ruined a bearing because mine torqued off. So what I have is I have just a second one backed on to the first one, and I got it from Ford for about 20 Canadian dollars for the new one. So it went newer one, older one to back onto it, because the older one has part of the built-in washer cut off of it. This is the newer one that goes on the inside, and then this is the older one that just backs onto it to keep it the keeper nut. It works really well. My rims cover it fine. And so let's take a look at the carrier assembly, which is just in here. It is cooling off because to get these bearings off, they're a real bitch, and to get them back on, they're also going to be a real bitch. But it's a 2-post puller from there, pulls it off, and the same on the other side. Even though it's easier, you can hit it. But anyways, my spider and everything in the middle there looks in great condition, and I have no worries or woes about the clutch pack. So I'm not even getting into that, I'm just fixing what I know needs to be fixed. Anyways, I will probably catch you later when we're back assembled a bit more here. But, yep. As the adventure of this rear end continues, we've pressed everything back in with one of these. You really do need to press to do this. This video is not to go over every little piece. It's just to show you the hard pieces and give you some advice. Make sure you clean this up nice. To get these seals in was a little bit challenging, especially the front one. There's a crush ring in here that is quite difficult to set up, so we did it with, this is done before the main carrier goes in. You need a big cheater bar, and we used this piece of flat bar, the hole in the end, and some bolts in the holes here that aren't used by the universal joint. And we torqued it up until we roughed in the inch pounds, so it's like 16 to 25 inch pounds of what is it, drag they would call it, on just the two bearings here. And right now I'm just driving the moisture out of it, because of course we had this thing like -20 and it frosted up when we took it out and it was wet. So I'm driving the moisture out before I put the back case back on and button the rest of the thing up. This is actually not too bad to put in. When we had my makeshift spreader set up on it, we just sat it in there with the spacers correct on each side, and until it just kind of fell in with a little push, and then torqued these up correctly. I think it's 77 foot-pounds is the spec we found, and bing bada boom, Bob's your uncle. If anything else comes up, I'll show you, but other than that, this should be pretty straightforward for any intermediate home mechanic. So any questions? Ask them. I answer my YouTube comments quite promptly. So have a good day.